And once again, a huge shout out to all of our financial supporters who help us fund this show each and every week. We cannot thank you enough. It enables us to do great things like our giveaways and so on. All of our community, all of our 87A Survivors Club, your names are there on the screen right now. Thank you so much. A special shout out to our 3 podcast bosses, Kenny Baker, Cinnamon, and Palmer, who's just joined us. Welcome, buddy. And our live show Chad, the one, the only, Roger Roaster. 4 months, mate. Thank you so much. But just know that all of you who are legends, just by watching the shows each and every week, help keep us going strong. Thank you all for your support, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. And welcome to episode 169, No Scales Beater. This is not the friendly podcast. We are a much more professional operation than that, aren't we, Cobra?
Well, it's certainly looking a bit better this week, mate. Yeah, now I've got to use this. We're looking good.
Other than a weird little okay, it's going to make us not able to talk to each other for 5 minutes while we do the countdown. That was unexpected, but yeah, you learn to roll with these things, don't you, Cobra?
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. Considering this is the first time I've used this, it's actually now starting to grow on me a little bit. Matty, can you still hear us?
Hello. Yes, I can indeed.
Oh my God, we still have a guest. We still have a guest. We haven't had any audio issues so far. So what we're doing, folks, is we're trialing out a new way of doing the show, and that's through a software called Live Streaming Studio. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. So fingers crossed. Welcome everyone, and a special welcome to all of our YouTube channel members who help support the show each and every week. Thank you all so much. Especially a big shout out to our live show Chad, Roger Roaster. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate it. That intro, I'm going to change it. I just wanted to see how it worked. We'll use our classic music, and I'll do some a little short 5-minute video before the show starts each week. So any ideas on what we could put in there, as well as the shout outs to all of our YouTube channel members would be appreciated. But Cobra, good to see you this week, mate.
Yes, mate. Good to see everyone here. There is a reason I haven't got my camera on, and that's because I'm just getting used to this new setup. So there you go, people. But no, good to be here.
But the focus this week is on our guest, the one and only Matty Triceps. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Mate, I love your avatar. There's nothing like a good Pepe meme, mate. And I see your channel. You have a whole range of them, mate.
Yeah, we got a couple of emotes for the members of the channel. Tried to keep it nice and fun. So yeah, copies a lot of the Pepe memes out there, but a bit of a twist, bit of a sort of military style Pepe to them all. And
I like it, mate. I like
the UK
it.
flag on there as well.
Yep. I mean, like it's not like I'm any stranger to controversy myself, but choosing Pepe was a bit of a, as they say in dodgeball, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. He's a bit divisive, the old Pepe the Frog.
Yeah, it was a bit of a. The history goes back a long way when I first started DayZ, so I thought I'd keep it in the roots.
Do you know what I love, right? I haven't spoken to Matty about this, but if you look at his thumbnails, he's got some special thumbnails as well, which I do find quite hilarious. So fair play to that.
See, this is even something I like about it, is this ability to, I don't know whether you can do it as well, Cobra. So you have to bear with us, folks. We are learning a bit as we go, but the chat column on the side, I can, if someone says something, I can actually highlight it. And, we've got Scales Beater being his usual cheeky self. Cobra has started dyeing his hair. So
I did see that, mate. I did see that cheeky little fuck. But sorry, that's demonetized already, isn't it?
We're past 30 seconds, mate. We're 8 minutes in, or nearly 9 minutes into the show. But Matty, tell us a bit about yourself, mate. We've got your bio. I'll just quickly have a look at that. You've been playing DayZ since Arma 2, bro, back in February 2013. Combined 6,000 hours in DayZ, primarily a modded DayZ player with a focus on clans, factions rather than individual survival. I have like 0 hours in vanilla DayZ. This probably started because of my younger days in Minecraft factions. Started making content just over a year ago. Recently hit 10K subscribers on YouTube in a year. That's pretty impressive, mate. That's actually pretty cool. You're the leader of SC, your clan on DayZ, super experienced clan, all players over 5,000 to 6,000 hours. Used to be a massive League of Legends enjoyer, but since COVID, switched to FPS games like DayZ and Warzone.
Yeah, thanks for that, boy. So I guess just throwing it all the way back there. So yeah, been playing DayZ since Arma 2, all on PC. So I know there's a lot of DayZ players now that come from console, and they've only been able to sort of touch the game because it's been on there, and they never had the opportunity from Arma 2. But probably like many of other people that play DayZ today, I watched Frankie on PC back when I was younger. Got me hooked onto Arma 2. I was like, man, this game looks awesome. Playing on an absolutely garbage laptop that my family probably bought me at the time. I was running around Cherno with like 1 FPS. But yeah, that got me hooked onto DayZ. And since then, really, I did take a break when the standalone came out. I didn't really enjoy it when it first came out, but I sort of snuck back in maybe 6 months in. And then, yeah, just really kicked off from there. I'm primarily a modded player, like I said. I've never really gone into sort of like the individual survival, but that's mainly because I think I've come from that Arma 2 background where there's been so much modded stuff that was implemented into that, like AI missions, all these other things that DayZ standalone itself didn't have at the time. So yeah, I've never really gone into that, and I've always played the game with mates. So that's why I've like had a super big clan focus. And in doing so, I've sort of built a massive community around myself as well, in terms of being like a clan leader now in DayZ.
There's something I was going to touch on there while Boyd is thinking what he's going to say next. So just to put it out there, so we just mentioned 10K subs in the first year. So this is something that when I first started content creating about 2 years ago now, you've done a very good job when all of the top content creators, especially those in DayZ, will all tell you, if you're hitting 10K in your first year, that is the hardest year, and you've got to hit that. If you hit your 10K, you're on track. Same thing I did. It gets easier from here, but in terms of the content, you've got to keep that consistent. Now, I'd like to congratulate Matty, because I've been watching Matty for a while, just checking out his growth. We've shared a couple of messages, and over the last, I don't know, 6 months, Matty, something like that. And it's so nice to see. I was willing him on. You're nearly at your 10. Come on, mate. You can get your 10. It's coming. And what are you on now, Matty? 11 something? 11.4 for 11.5?
Yeah, just over 11 now, dude. It's going good.
Yeah, that's
good.
Impressive.
I thought you were going to say, you're doing well when everyone's accusing you of botting Cobra, but no, you were a bit more.
More reserved today after last week's, yes. But I'm sure Matty gets exactly the same as the rest of us. Mate, you're cheating. What are you doing?
Yeah,
and that shit.
So why have you avoided vanilla DayZ so much, Matty?
It wasn't. I've never had the people around me playing vanilla DayZ, so it's more so like I've always just hopped on with friends. We've always seen content creators. We've followed their path, and when you sort of watch other people playing, and maybe it's just the people that I've been watching are solely sort of modded people. There's a lot of big stories, how they build this base or how they've done a certain adventure. You sort of start off on the modded front. Well, I have, and maybe it's just because I've been a consumer of that content and I've just kicked off in that way, and I've never really gone down sort of the main survival routes. But yeah, I think it is a part of the game that is just completely different, and I understand like it's just something that I've never really touched into. It is something that I probably will down in the future as well.
And you're primarily a YouTuber. Do you stream much on there as well?
So I do YouTube mainly just for videos. I try to stream like towards the end. So like I do have a little rota where it's like maybe the first. So like in DayZ, we have like you have the standard wipes, right? Whereas like in you update, it'll wipe, and yeah. So I try to play at least like 2 weeks of that wipe, where I, build up the content, build up the story, see how I want to work with, And then once I've edited it all up, I'll be like, okay, so what shall I do? Do I want to join mid-wipe somewhere, or well, what I'll tend to do is try stream something different. That might be where I say, like, try out a vanilla server, or I'll try out a new different server that was different to the videos that I was intending to create. So yeah, that's what I tried to do. But other than sort of DayZ and YouTube, I do work full time as well. So it's something that I try to get on the side in the
Hard
evenings
work.
as most. Yeah.
I'm just bringing up your YouTube channel now. Hopefully, you can see it as well on the screen that we're watching. But you've done really well, mate. With just even the views on your channel, and it's your thumbnails are on point. The kind of almost Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle-ish
This
thumbnails
is
of
what I
your
was talking
Pepe.
about.
Yeah, it's quite catchy, mate. Yeah, you've had some massive videos, bro. 151, 367,000 views. That's really impressive.
Yeah, those sort of couple of videos that I did that popped off really were a bit out of the blue. So a lot of sort of console players won't really know this, but on PC you can sort of add your own filters, change your internal settings to sort of make the game either run better if you've got a PC that might not be sort of as powerful as some others, to bring more FPS out, or like add more colors to your game, things like that. And yeah, those were the couple of videos where I was like, didn't know that would pop off, but on YouTube you just don't know if a video is going to pop off really. So yeah, those just ended up going out into the world.
One thing I will say, Cobra, that he's doing well is he's embracing all the modern platforms as well. He's got TikTok and I cannot do TikTok. I avoid that site, and this is me, yes, being a complete and utter boomer. But I can't get my head around it.
TikTok's a dodgy one, mate. It's a dodgy one because I mean, I did this Instagram, TikTok. I still do it, but both of my accounts have been shadow banned. So, what happened was, I started getting some big views right on TikTok and Instagram, right, and then all of a sudden, within the first week, right, someone reported on both sites because I'd killed a player, right? Someone said it went against some kind of guideline, and
What?
I had no views, right, for about 2 months, no views, and it's only just gone back up to 300-400. So I should have cancelled the account and started again, but I just thought, screw it, just leave it. I don't really use them, but no, you're right. You got if you're going to grow, you got to hit all the social media accounts. Absolutely.
I think, yeah, TikTok one for
Sinner
me
in
is
chat there. TikTok Sims.
Yeah.
What were you going to say there, Matty? Sorry.
yeah, I was just gonna say TikTok one. I've only just recently got into that a little bit. I was testing the waters really between using TikTok and using YouTube Shorts, and what is the difference really. But I think it's just one way you can sort of touch into sort of your more younger audience, maybe the 18-year-olds. Because when I look into my own YouTube stats, it's actually surprisingly, it's 20-year-old plus that are watching my videos. But then you go into TikTok and it's like, oh wow, it's actually probably everyone below 20 years old, and it's like you're sort of tapping into a different type of audience there, which is just something that I'm trying to expand on really.
Yeah, you see, this is where the trends are as well, though, mate. Because the youngsters, they want to see action, whereas a lot of my clientele are in their 30s plus, so they're into a little bit
a more distinguished, a more avant-garde audience, as opposed to these common masses.
Well, the thing is, mate. The thing is, I get bollockings from my audience for killing people. KOS, mate. That's what I get bollocked for. So, whereas I'm sure Matty just thinks, screw it. I said, right, he's dead. Bang. You know what I mean? And he'll get away with that.
It's hard. Being a streamer or content creator and playing a game, being able to enjoy it, like all credit to those who've been doing it for years and years and years. I dabbled in it, I wouldn't say dabbled, I did it for a few years on and off, just very casually in that, but it's very demanding, Matty, especially when you're live streaming. And I've seen the Running Man a few times have rants about when people are giving him a bollocking for doing something mean to someone in game, and it's just kind of like, can people not just have fun? You know, do you ever get the comments, Matty? Like, you know, it's people like you who are ruining this game.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew
I think
you would. I knew you would.
there's always going to be people you can't please online, right? And how you play the game is going to be completely different to how they play the game. You know, a lot of like the people that I play, we want to run around, we want to sort of get guns, and we want to shoot people. That's the end of that. That's how we want to play.
There you go.
But then, you know, there's other people. It's just like, you know, they want to chill, they want to build the base, they want to survive. You know, get all your vitals up and things like that. And it's just totally different aspect of the game where I also think is the difference between a lot of the vanilla players and then a lot of the modded players as well, because you skip a lot of that when you play modded. Like you skip a lot of the survival stats that you need to build up, which I understand it's like an integral part of the core game. So it speeds up those sort of areas where I guess appeals maybe to the younger guys that may be watching or playing the game.
Mm-hmm. I know my mate Vigilante Gamer did a video 9 years ago. Bandits are not ruining DayZ, and it was more, you know, he used the term bandits, but it was more about, you know, KOS. And I 100% agree. You know, what he said 9 years ago when DayZ standalone was very early access still applies today. If it wasn't for those piece of shit buddy scum of the earth KOS players, there'd be no fear. It'd just be a big circle jerk of people standing around holding each other's dick, singing Kumbaya, as I always say. You need those guys, but at the same time, they've got to be careful. Yeah, it's something that I've been discussing with a group of players here in Australia who pretty much become ostracized by almost every community because they were going a little bit too far with the edgy talk and, you know, trash talking and shit talking and getting in the DMs and just generally being very toxic. But they were doing it not because I genuinely don't believe they were doing it because they were mean per se. At times it did get mean spirited. They had a couple of people in particular who took it a bit too far. But yeah, you've got to be careful that you don't destroy, especially a community server, don't you, Matty? Because if you're like, it must be an issue for you, mate. You said you're running with people who are generally all around 5,000 to 6,000 hours. So if they're all in the same age group as you, I'm imagining you've got some pretty serious people who can slap pretty hard when it comes to PvP and base rating and that. And it's easy for a server like you to make it, for a squad like you to make it not fun for anyone else to play. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think it is actually an issue that we talk about internally as well, where, you know, if we really wanted to, we could sort of speed run a whole server, destroy it, make the population literally go down to zero if we really wanted to. So there are things that we sort of need to do as a group to enjoy the game, but not kill the server pop at the same time. So although we like to enjoy killing people, raiding people's bases, like it's fun. We try to limit that where we can in terms of who we target. So yeah, because we play like clan focused servers, predominantly like rearmed at the moment, we'll sort of just wait maybe a couple of weeks before we start hitting the bigger clans. But so at the start we might just sort of focus on just, you know, PvP in normal groups, not killing people off the server. But as we sort of slowly creep into the middle of the end, a wipe, yeah, we'll start doing that. So we try to pace ourselves. But yeah, I agree. Like on these servers, you do have to take it a bit careful and take a bit of responsibility. Like, especially if it's maybe a new server that's come out, they sort of got fresh pop. You know, maybe like 60 out of 80 people on the server. You don't want to just go on there, kill the pop. You know, you'll probably get banned, to be honest, as someone that doesn't want you. The owner doesn't want you on the server to play there because you just ruin.
Well, especially when you're on a server like Rearmed or, you know, Northman's, these monetized servers where it's almost a bit of a source of income for the people behind it. And if one squad was to come in and just start to absolutely destroy it, yeah, that's an interesting little quandary there, Cobra, because, you know, effectively they're not really breaking any rules; they're just dominant. That'd be. I haven't actually heard of anything. I'd love to, if anyone out there has heard of something like this, where a monetized server has cracked down on a team that really aren't breaking any rules. They're just fucking good at the game. Have you ever heard of anything like that, Cobra?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there, right? And Matty's run his own servers anyway, so he knows what I'm going to say. The fact of the matter is there. This is why you see certain servers like Rearmed and others making it difficult to raid. So what you start to see now is the grind for C4 on those modded servers a lot of the servers are now going, well, do you know what? There's a rule. You can't raid in the first week, or I've seen a lot of this about. I've also seen a lot of that. You've got to grind, proper grind. I was playing down bad servers a little while ago. A friend of mine, Jobby, who's the owner over there, and he made it so difficult to even get your hands on C4 that you was a month into the white before you could even hit a base because the grind was so difficult. Now, I think there's a happy medium. There's two things I'm going to say there. There's a big happy medium there. A really good balanced server is not going to allow you, by their setup, to be raiding in the first day, 2 days. They're going to make it a bit of a grind. If you've got a load of players, big groups that are grinding all day, every day, then really you should still be looking at a good couple of weeks before you can hit a big base. You need the pop to be able to build bases before you're hitting them. And that's why a load of the servers, good servers in the past, have died off with their numbers. Over the years. So I think, yeah, right, you can say you've got an advantage if you've got numbers in your team, but ultimately, the server owners do need to do a little bit there rather than banning people. I mean, I've been on servers where groups have been banned purely for going in and raiding, but ultimately, you're not breaking the rules, as everyone knows that. They just don't want their pop to die, which is fine. I really do think it's a server owner issue, and the balance in the server based on your current clientele. That's where the work comes in. And if you're a lazy server owner, then you are going to lose your pop there. So that's my view. The other thing we touched on about KOS. Now, for me, I've played, like all of us here, a long time here. I've redefined my kind of acceptable, non-negotiable behaviour here, and that is the only thing I'm against. And that is kitted players in clans or even by themselves running out of their bases and killing freshies all day long on the coast. That's the only kind of rule I have. You don't do that. Other than that, I quite enjoy an outnumbered clan coming to try and get me and a couple of boys, or just me by myself. I quite enjoy that. So, what's your view, mate?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, KOS is boring when you sort of you're just going to gun down sort of an unarmed, non-threatened person. So, and you're just sitting there with full gear. But when it comes to evil balanced game, yeah, I'm going to shoot anyone who has the same sort of gear as me. I'm going to shoot him if he's aiming at me. Any sort of trigger that I see, they're going down in my eyes anyway. And that's in the servers that I play. So, like Rearmed, for example, like this server, any freshie could pull out a pistol on you and just two-tap you. So it's a really scary thought. Even if like you geared, like some of this gear could take you sort of days to get. So it's like you want to sort of protect yourself at the same time, right? You sort of have to think for yourself, oh well, in the freshie's eyes, he's got nothing to lose. as you sort of a well-versed sort of DayZ player, freshies are some of the most dangerous players in the game. Could have a grenade in their pocket, could have a pistol in their hands. You just don't know what can happen if you hot mic them in game, and 2 seconds later you're on the coast.
In the early access days.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand both sides of the KOS, but for me, it's more so if they're looking like a threat or they're acting a bit dodgy, they're getting sent back to the coast.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. I think the change of the definition there is when you're deliberately camping that coast for freshies. That's the difference.
I just highlighted the comment. I don't know whether you can see it, Cobra. Not worse than geared coast campers. So yeah.
But don't get me wrong, you step out of line, mate, you're getting shot by me too. So that's it.
But no. And yeah, shout out to the people who try to do more than just KOS. Like I was watching a bit of Zesty Polvo, who I'm a big fan of, and I love and it's like really only guys who are good at PvP and really understand the game who can do a lot of this. Like me, if I shoot someone, I'm probably going to end them because I'm not that good. I'm just going to keep on shooting until they're a quivering, bleeding mass on the ground. But I love these people who are prepared to risk it for the lols, the memes, whatever. And he does things like he'll shoot someone, tie him up, and then talk with them a bit. And he poses a silly question to him, like the video I just watched. He was asking him, "What's the world's largest desert?" and depending on whether they got it right was whether they lived or not. And I've got to respect that. Yeah, I've got a couple of videos from my encounter series back in the day where even I did, I'd knock someone and then tie them up and not kill them when I was a bit better. But it comes down to, I've talked about this before, Matty, but a lot of people struggle with understanding that even a L is a loss is still good content, good experience. Some of my best memories, I've talked about this video a lot. It's a time when R. Diddy and Ben Fruit held me up and robbed me of nearly everything I had on a very hardcore server here in Australia. And I was ropeable at the time, but I remember it, and I look back at it now with that was a fucking good interaction. Have you done things like that yourself, Matty? Where either giving someone a chance or put yourself in a situation where you knew you weren't going to survive it, but it was going to be fun for everyone involved, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those situations that happened to me have been mainly good learning experiences. So there's been a couple times where you've let someone live, you've given them stuff. 2 seconds later, well, in my experience, you get shot in the back of the head once you run away. But yeah, there's been situations where, like, when I first started playing DayZ, probably back a year ago on standalone on PC, where I only had maybe just under 300 hours in the game. So, like, after amateur, I was playing standalone, and I was just getting to grips with the game. I ran across sort of like some of the big clan players in like Berezino, and here I was just like, oh wow, I I just there's just situations where you're just gonna lose, right? And you're just gonna like, okay, well, let's just try to talk to them and see what you can do. And I do think, yeah, losing in the game is part of that learning experience for me, at least. And once you've done it so many times, I kind of don't want to do it again. But that's my experience.
I've talked about this one many time, but my boy Prestige and we did a raid on a little known server that some of you may have heard of, possibly not, DayZ Down Under, where we just went big and we did it during peak hours. We made as much noise. It was on the Banov server, and we drove all the way from the top left of the map down through the big city in a big convoy of trucks and vehicles with 20 of us. Server pop was like 80 or something because we knew we were going to take hits on the way. And to that other town just north of or northeast of Banov, which has the other big tower. And we had one of the best raids ever. We did get in to the target, but we made it so that everyone knew something big was going down. And it was a night to remember. Turned into a bit of a shit fight with toxicity in that afterwards, but I still stand by that it was a good thing to do because it created an organic moment for a lot of people on there. And I would love to do something like that again. It's great when people do things like that for a good community server, Matty.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, the situations where, like, when you are the experienced player and you're given that sort of organic play for maybe someone that hasn't had as much experience in the game, it's going to be something that they remember, right? If you're raiding, for example, you're giving them a heads up, like, look, I'm coming for you tonight. You better be ready, prepared with your boys. It's going to be something that you'll always remember your first DayZ raid, right? Or your first DayZ base defense. It's one of those where it's absolutely exhilarating, even if it's just a couple of you and you're going to lose, but you're sort of there cornered, you're sort of pushing back your enemies, and it's always going to be a night to remember. And I've always remembered sort of my first raids that I've done. And I've done so many now that I've just forgotten half of them. So
yeah, that's why you find yourself constantly pushing the boundary, Matty, to get something different to spice it up a bit, because it gets a bit boring just doing the same old thing. So you're always looking for something. What about this building over here and so on? So yeah, it's awesome. Always looking for something new to, so a different way to do something, or do I go in by myself, or do we take a Zerg squad with us, or so many options are available for people.
Yeah, so like for me, for example, I've always played in sort of like a Zerg clan. At least like 10 of our boys would be sort of running it down inside like a 120 pop server, so fighting against other 10 mans. And when I sort of take a break from those servers and I sort of go, oh, just chill and play servers where it's maybe just 3 or 4 man, it's actually like a really nice break to the game. Like it's a completely different experience. Like people that play in sort of like a 4-man server versus like a 10-man server, you'll have a completely different experience of the game, even though it's you playing the same game. Same to say if you play in modded versus vanilla, like it almost feels like 2 different games, right? When you play them.
Yeah. And
Massive.
you know, you can find different servers. You know, well, like we're talking before, Cobra, about how different servers have it's easier or harder to raid, and you know the different raiding styles. It could be, you know, you've got to find C4 charges, or it could just be vanilla raiding, and they've upped the damage that the walls can take, and so on. And even the different base building mods that are out there. There's so many different variations that you can find.
Yeah, I mean, obviously varies from server to server. I still go back to my roots, and that is vanilla. That is official servers. So for me, I tell you what, I do play a lot of vanilla servers as well. So for me, it's official vanilla with the odd really good quality modded server. I'm not into like 400 mods, helicopters flying around everywhere. But you know, I think for me, you've got to still have that balance. A lot of the people I speak to, they do enjoy that bit of balance of survival and KOS, you know, and raiding and all the rest of it. I think it's easy to get lost when you're in the content creator world. It's easy to get lost with your little niche, but there's a limit to that niche, if you know what I mean. There's a limit to how many. If you're raiding base all the time, people don't want to tune in and just watch base raid every time, you know, you're doing something. You do need to mix that up a little bit. So going to these different servers and doing these little tiny different, you know, these little different things does encourage more to come over and join your channel. So but like I say, I mean, for me, the only problem with vanilla raiding, if you're using melee weapons, that's a pain in the ass these days, man. That is a pain in the ass. Like 700 hits for a fucking fence. You know what I mean? That is a pain in the ass. But other than that, yeah, you know. I take it, Matty, you've not done much vanilla raiding, have you? Or is it mainly C4 raiding you're into?
Yeah, not much. I have watched videos like of yourself and some others. You know, they're shooting down the frames, shooting down the panels off of the different parts. So it looks quite like a lengthy process.
It is a lengthy process, mate. That's like the last raid I did on official, mate. It took me 3 hours.
And yeah, one of the things I do like about vanilla raiding is it generally makes a lot of noise.
Yes.
You know, all those bullets being fired, and you know, when you've just got like the server I've been playing lately, Northman, when you're using a raid saw on a code lock, makes no noise. Like even if there was someone inside the base, if you weren't moving, they wouldn't even know that their door is being attacked. And you know, if anyone's ever used a hacksaw on metal, it's quite a grating noise. You're going to hear that
changing, mate. You may find that changing because I played Northman a few months back, and it's the same with basically vanilla. Basically vanilla, you can hear it, and I think the distances on the hacksaw for tents, I think it's like 15 meters. You can still hear a little bit. But on Northman, I haven't played it as we had the lad on the show, the owner of the Northmans the other week. As I said to him, I hadn't played his servers for a good 5 months. So that might change, mate. That may change.
I hope so, because yeah, it's a bit of it's a bit OP because those raid saws completely defeat even a metal gate just by taking the code lock off. So yeah, it's a bit of a risky one, and they're a more common item than the actual explosives. But you know, we're getting into analyzing a server and their method right now. And you know, Matty, what's your favorite building mod?
So I've played through quite a few now, actually. So I've played. I think Cobra's mentioned Jobby server down bad. He had simple building. I think it was simple building mod or something like that. I played base building plus. I've tried to do vanilla. I get stuck in all the not really stuck. There's so many recipes, rocks and twigs, and all these different things you need to collect. I guess my roots have come from Base Building Plus as a mod. In terms of this is one of my sort of core favorite ones. Most recently, I've been playing Rearm, so they have their own building mod, and it's similar to Rust, so that other survival game where you've got all these different shaped parts, and you can sort of just whack it up within like an hour. You can whack up a whole base basically. It's less of a sort of grind to put a base up in comparison to both Base Building Plus and vanilla building. So I think Base Building Plus is a nice medium, but it has its pros and cons, yeah. And mainly the cons being raiding. So there's a lot of neat things you can do to protect your base, which you can't do on other mods. And I guess maybe Cobra, you've got some when it comes to base defense. I don't know if there's like certain things you can build in vanilla building, but
base defenses need such a massive
They do.
overhaul. It
Yeah.
is my
Yeah.
biggest gripe. I want there to be things like I think it was in Helkiana's Much Stuff pack. Some of the lockers could have grenades in them that would fall out when it was opened, and it's the biggest weakness. The only thing we've got is landmines, which are pretty ordinary. They're very easy to see. For the most part, you can't even bury the bloody things to hide them, and tripwires and barbed wire, and you can't even electrify the barbed wire. Like I haven't even seen if there's a mod that allows that, even though I understand the game has some sort of coding or something around that being possible. But after they nerfed barbed wire, it was the one thing that you had going for you was put barbed wire up, and more often than not, it ended up killing the people who lived in the bloody base. But barbed wire was lethal.
It'll kill you as well, mate.
Now there's nothing. It's your base is basically just a sitting duck.
Well, I mean, I going back to what Matty's just said there. I think that the thing for me is, and I'm sure you find this the same, Matty, that especially on your modded servers that you play, there is a lot of mods out there that deal with base defenses. In various different servers used there. Do you remember the barricades? And you've got the wooden X rings with barbed wire all over them and all kinds of stuff. The thing with official is, as Boydie was saying, you haven't got any of that stuff. You're literally stuck with that tripwire or landmine. I mean, even the new type of mods, such as the base alarm, that's quite a new mod. So you can get it come through on your Discord now if you've set it up. So I mean, that's interesting. All the kids at home, I'm going to bed. Oh shit, Discord's going off. Oh shit, let's jump back on. We're getting raided, 3 a.m. and that's crazy. But I don't know. I mean, I do like Base Building Plus as a mod. I prefer it way better than Expansion, I've got to say. Expansion was good, but Base Building Plus for me was better. But you're right though. I think for vanilla stroke official, we do need something, mate. We do need something there.
Yeah. Definitely, like even something with certain walls, Matty, that you could set it up so that after it's destroyed, a grenade drops down, and if the person's not attentive, they could be killed by that grenade. They've added a bit of noise now so that when an item falls, it makes a sound. So just something to give people. Especially to defend against that, the bane of every base builder's existence, the dreaded offline raid. Are you an offline raider, Matty?
To be fair, I've done my fair few, but I do.
And
nowadays...
probably had your fair few done against you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, every month it happens to me, but it is part of. I'm expecting it now. It's not really something that I cry over. It's part of DayZ that I found. The only thing that you can do nowadays to sort of prevent that is you either building some humongous fortress, or you're just accepting the fate. You just got to say, look, boys, it's going to happen. We can do our best, but eventually after a couple of weeks, we'll get hit either online or offline. So it is one of those, and I think base building is one of those which is also very difficult to balance as a game. So it's we can give all these like crazy ideas of things that we'd want to do, but from like I guess from a dev perspective, or at least a server owner perspective, they need to think about, okay, so what about the raiders? What is their experience going to be like? How do we balance this with the economy of the server, and how you can maybe find certain items and buy certain items? there's a lot of variables that need to be considered when applying these different mods. And the more you add, like you say, like if servers have got tons of different mods, tons of different things in the economy, it just gets so complex where
Yeah.
a lot of servers just flop, don't they? They build an unbalanced server, a server that doesn't have sort of a good economy, and it just flops, and people sort of say, "Oh, I don't want to play this anymore."
Do you know what though? It's I think you've hit the nail on the head there, right? Out of all of the servers I've ever played, modded, I'm talking here, there is only about 4 that I will continue to go back to. And it's purely because they may be brilliant to start, they may be brilliant at the end, but there's something missing somewhere. You know, they'll either have too many updates all the time. I mean, Sunnyvale, for one, updates every day, 13, 14 times, you know. You've got various others that have, you know, it's all good trying out a new mod. It's all good changing, you know, every wipe to a new C4 pattern or something. But those that are trying too many changes, that there is the number one biggest killer for servers out there. So, you know, I think it does come down to, if you've got something that's working and it's popular, don't try to fix something that ain't broken. That's my view on that.
Yeah, like an example recently, like Rearmed has done some really, really big updates on their server, and they've released a bunch in one go. So
Yeah.
they've changed like completely how sort of their armor system works, their medical system, all these different things that they've added as a modded aspect of the game on their server, has basically forced their own customers, their own players, to relearn how to play that server. And it's like, obviously that's going to have a big backlash in terms of their own community, right? So
Yeah,
it's definitely one where you can't really make these massive changes right in one go. It has to be incremental. It has to come bit by bit. Let people ease into it, see what's coming. Like if you take it from like a commercial standpoint, if you take like how just something really simple, maybe you go into the shops down the road, and back in the day you'd had people on the tills, right? And nowadays you just got people scanning things automatically on the things. They didn't come all in one go, right? Or else you'd have a big uproar of, oh, I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to do this. That's the same sort of like change that happens in all these servers where, yeah, you just have to be really careful with the sort of change you do, because one small mistake can cost you a lot of players.
I mean, I'll give you an example. I won't mention the name of it, but I know of a very well-known set of servers back in the day were amazing. Discord community of 7,000. They made a load of changes. Their Discord is now down to like 2,000. And I look at their servers every now and then, and there's about 12 people online. They were one of the best servers out there.
I'll actually mention one of them, because it's important that we're not throwing shade. We're talking about the hazards of doing something like that. But DayZ Underground really upset a lot of people with some of the changes they've made in the past. Where I think they brought one in where you couldn't lock your base or something, and it was one of the most bizarre things ever. And I need to follow up on it and find out what the fallout from it is. But DayZ Underground was, Doug was the original community server, the very first one ever. And back in the day, everyone, the who's who of DayZ, was all playing DayZ Underground. And I'm not sure what the status of it is lately. I still have a lot of love for it, but it's in the US and it's hard for me to get on and play those servers. I like to play with a decent ping, but it was sad to see that happen.
Definitely, mate. I just don't get it, mate. If you've got something, as I go back to what I always say, if you've got something that's working, all right, change with the times. But as Matty's just said, change little by little, take a little step, put your polls out, listen to your audience, listen to your hardcore members. If they're saying no, a majority is saying no, we don't actually want this mod. You've got a choice. All right, you may still own the server, but I mean, Christ, if you want to do well and be successful, you've got to take other people's opinions. Especially if it's overwhelming. You've got to take those opinions into account.
Darkwing saying in chat, Matty, that Matty is a PvP legend. Go turquoise white horns. So I'm guessing that was an emote, but yeah.
Big up Darkwing in the chat.
I love Darkwing. He's one of our regulars in here as well.
Yeah,
but yeah. Mate, we're going to start moving on with some of the actual items and that, but I pretty much agree, mate. It's find a server that works for you, and there's just like this so much variety out there. Yeah, there'll be something, but like Cobra said, there's some servers that just do it right pretty much every time, and keep on killing it. DayZ movie. What have you guys heard about it?
Go on, Matty.
I guess for me, this one's a bit of a new one for me. So I've heard little things here and there, but nothing in detail. So it'd be good to hear more from you guys. What's going on that side?
I don't have a lot. There will be some stuff coming soon, but there was a bit of progress that I will share with you all. Hang about. Let me just move this back over here.
Now, here's a question for you, Boydie, while you're doing that. On the new software here, are we going to have to click anything to actually view if you're going live with something? Or does it automatically come on?
Well, let's have a look. What are you seeing?
There we go. There we go. Beautiful.
And you can see that fine?
Yeah, all good.
So the popular Brazilian YouTuber at FA Games 3 has just dropped a video about us in our planned DayZ film. He even added English subtitles. I gave him a couple of exclusive BTS behind-the-scenes photos from our proof of concept shoot. So go check it out and give him some love. So it was great to see this. That there are still some people out there, because I know we've been pretty quiet about it, but that'll all become clear. I am still in regular contact with Jay, the guy I interviewed all that time ago. But there are some changes or some updates coming. At the moment, they're in the process of setting up a Discord for people to join to find out more, both about the movie and about potentially becoming an investor, if you are interested in that sort of stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of options coming with information on it, but I'm still hyped about it. They shared a while back here it is. I hope you guys can still see this. The story and tone references. Now, this didn't make much sense to me, but it's basically like some sort of way of indicating to potential investors or whoever, seeing these reference points out of context may imply the wrong vision. The pitch deck is mainly designed to demonstrate to investors an understanding of what can be commercially successful, along with tonal references. If you see that and think we're planning Squid Game 2, fear not, because I know that some people were like, "What, Squid Game?" But I kind of get it. But this is obviously why some people go to university to study making movies and all the rest of it, because there's stuff going on there that I don't fully understand. But I did like this bottom one, the iconography, The Road with Viggo Mortensen. Brilliant movie, absolutely brilliant. But
yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of potential, right, in a survival zombie movie where, and if they're taking references from the likes of maybe a battle royale or like a Squid Game is causing.
Well, I know that concerned some people when they saw battle royale in there. It's like, no, he's not a battle royale.
Well, the interesting one for me, mate, is Lord of the Flies.
Oh no, I like seeing that in there, because Lord of the Flies, if you've read the book, or I think there was even an old school movie about it in that as well. It's a psychological movie about what happens to people. And so is that why you said interesting? Because
it's interesting because in DayZ, you start by yourself. Lord of the Flies, they were groups of kids.
Yep.
So it's interesting. I think their reference there is, if you're left alone in a survival situation for too long, you will basically the humans will turn against each other and start fucking eating each other, all kinds of shit. Probably is what they're trying to say. So there's a kind of in between. I think battle royale, psychology, a game, and a great film. They've all got bits in common, but they're all very, very different. So interesting. I can't wait to see what this is.
Yeah, I don't even think they've started proper filming yet. They're still on the planning, and that's what these things don't happen overnight. But I'm still very, very excited. I'm notorious for getting over hyped about stuff when it appeals to me. But that's the worst trade I have, then that's a pretty good one. But yeah, once we've got information about the Discord and that, we'll be sharing that out with people. If you want to join and find out more about, the movie and potentially becoming an investor if you're into that. So yeah, but I'm quite excited about it. I really, really am. It's going to be, yeah. Oh,
Is there a release date for that, Boydie? Did you say they've got
No.
a projected release date?
no, not even at
Nah.
this stage.
Because I've left it alone. I've read some of the little bits on Twitter and that, but until it's out, I'm not really too bothered in finding the bits and pieces. I just want to have a look at it and see when it's done, what it's like. Is it going to be anything like DayZ type related or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of that's still up in the air. They're still pitching ideas and probably writing a script. I don't know. I don't inquire too much about that sort of stuff because I am still under an NDA, so I can only talk about what's publicly out there. So I don't ask Jay too much because I don't want to. I've got the memory of a sieve, mate. I can't even remember what I did. I can remember I had toasties last night. I did a ham and cheese toasties, but I'll forget what I can and can't say. So it's easier for me if I just don't ask.
So one.
I think one of
sorry,
go on the movie though. It'd be cool because in aspect DayZ as a whole doesn't have much lore behind it, right? It's got a few sort of hints and things, so it'd be really interesting to see what direction they want to take on that front. There's
I'm
a lot to work.
I'm not going to lie. I think the Yellow King would make a great villain.
Yeah,
and then he takes that helmet off and it's Mr. Moon under there.
Mooney.
Oh, that would just make my day.
DayZ, mate.
He does. I know. He's actually been playing Scum and enjoying it, enjoying it a bit with some of the other lads from back in the day. But yeah, okay. What the DMR? Wobo did a DMR video. Did either of you watch it?
Yes.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on it?
Go on, Matt.
Yeah, I guess DayZ needs some more guns for one, right? I think
it's the PvP.
It needs some more, but yeah, it's a nice addition. It's something that I use quite frequently on the modded side, so it's nice to see from actually coming out and being released to the wider audience in terms of being in the standalone now. And I think from what Wobo said, it's all semi-auto, right? So it's going to be your sort of semi-auto 308 rifle. Is that right?
308. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is cool. It'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a potential contender with the SVD. But I did hear a bit of drama about not being able to suppress it, and I don't know if you guys had a look at that one.
Yeah, you can't at the moment, can you?
Well, you can with a bottle suppressor.
Yeah, but other than that, you can't, can you? There's no other actual suppressor that fits it, is there, other than a bottle suppressor?
No, not for the same as the FAL and any of the 308 snipers as well. So, yeah, I
like it. I have used it, and I like it. I think it's going to be better than the VSD, mate. SVD. I think it will be better than that in official. I'm talking. It's definitely going to rival it. I mean, over the last couple of years, the VSD has dropped down in damage, and it has also dropped as being the number one sniper in the game. I mean, I prefer a Savannah now. If I'm on official, mate, I'll take a Savannah over a VSD all day long, and it's the same 10-round mag.
Yep.
So I think the DMR. What's that? Yeah, exactly.
But it's got a better scope than the SVD, and it's got a better scope than the DMR has. So
I mean, think about it, right? Let's motion this up here with real life. You're taking an SVD into the battlefield as a sniper. You can have a much better scope than that P scope. Fucking me. You ain't going to be able to do anything with that. Not really. Not at any range. So, I think there does need to be a couple of little add-ons there. There does need to be an official suppressor for the DMR, and I think I think it will be better than the VSD.
Because he only rated it just below the SVD, didn't he, Matty?
Yeah, and I think it's only just below because you're sort of limited in that aspect where you can put that suppressor on the SVD, right? And when you think about the sort of scenarios you get in DayZ as well, there's not many where you're going to be sort of shooting someone 1,000 meters away and hitting them right. So having that suppressor in those situations is like really powerful, at least in my opinion. So you cause a lot of pressure on someone that they have no clue where you are, but if they're loud and they hear that, you think, oh, I can just run away from you. It's all good.
And plus, it's 308, mate. So you've got to love 308. Anything with 308.
Well,
I'm
and it's
talking
one of the
official.
sexier looking weapons in the game. I'm not going to lie. They made a really nice model for it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see it in a few different colours.
Yeah. I would like a black model. You know, once you've had black, you never go back. That's what my missus tells me, at least.
Oh, mate, I'm standing well away from that.
Yeah. What was B saying there in chat? Interesting pick. I thought it would probably be the M110 or a Scar 17, but it only keeps confirming place in the very early 2010s as the M14 DMR. The one in game was taken out of service in 2014. So, yeah, that's actually a pretty good comment there about the
history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the game was set in 2012-ish, I think, was the original lore. So, yeah.
A funny comment that I saw on because Frankie was coming back as well, right? He recently released a video, and he's been playing DayZ recently as well. DayZ has released the DMR because it's his favorite gun. Yeah, he used to know a lot of his early videos.
Okay, that's actually, I didn't see that one. That's 200 IQ move there, DayZ. Well done, guys. Well done. That's pretty smart, because it was, the minute you said that, I'd completely forgotten. But DMR, baby, it was always the DMR.
There you go.
Yeah, there's always one on Armor 2, wasn't it? It was, you picked that one up. He had a sniper scope on it, and he'd just go around just slaughtering people. So.
Which is right up your street, mate.
But no, I'll stop sharing Wobo's video there. We just had it playing in the background there. As usual, the quality that this guy puts in to his reviews is beyond anything else out there. And we'll be coming back to Wobo a little bit later in the show as well, because there was a comment on that video that pissed me off. But right now, I've got to do my weekly shill. Humble Bundle, folks, make sure you check them out. I've been very, very impressed with the stuff that they've been producing on their. I'd heard of them, but I'm really loving the way that website works. Have you ever used it, Matty?
I have not. This is going to be the first time. Be good to check it out, actually.
Let me just bring them up. This week's Humble Bundle that I thought would interest people was 7 Days to Die, another game in the genre of our beloved DayZ. And yeah, it's just, they have everything from, let me share my screen again for you. Everything from actual bundles to the games, and they do packs of them. They do individual games on sale. I think it was where I saw 7 Days to Die. Resident Evil 4. There it is, 7 Days to Die. $9.49 Australian. So what would that be, about £5 for you guys in the UK?
Yeah, that's cheap.
That's a damn good little package deal there. So if that interests anyone, I'll put that into chat now for you all. Check it out. If you're looking for something else to be able to play on the side, when DayZ's not doing it for you, 7 Days to Die, still in early access. But hey, if you've been playing DayZ for over 3-4 years, early access, that little guy, you don't need to worry about that little guy. Been there, done that. And yeah, it's only on sale for a limited time, another just under 2 days, but $9.49 down from nearly $40 Australian, so about £20 for you guys in the UK. That's a massive discount. So please check them out. Our link is there in the bio. And if you don't like that, we've also got our normal link of where you can just use our referral code, and any purchase that you get, support us. And also a charity of our choice, which is Wounded Heroes, one of my favorite charities.
Very good.
Okay, Now we are on to. Let me just stop sharing. This actually it's still working pretty well, isn't it, Cobra? The software we're
Yeah,
using.
yeah. I
I'm
must admit, I was a bit wary before.
Mate, I've been on this software for over a year now, and I've just been looking at it. I think I've got a test stream like maybe 2 years ago, even, and I've just been umming and ahhing. And eventually, I said after last week's debacle, which I'll do the apology now for. Last week was terrible, folks. I cannot apologize enough for that. But I worked out the issue was the NVIDIA encoding add-on to my microphone, and it really hits your GPU or CPU, one of the two. I can never remember that shit. I'm like you, Cobra. I'm barely tech savvy.
Yeah.
But I checked my task manager, Matty, and I was up to like 30-40% of the system's power being used by my microphone. And I was like, what the hell?
Wow.
And Googled it. And yeah, sure enough, people were saying it's just that one thing. And I don't know how my audio sounds like to you guys now, but I
That's
turned it
fine, mate.
off and I didn't notice much difference. So I was like, why have it on then? But yeah. Okay. So, well, I said we were going to be talking about this. And I was not lying. So I'm going to bring up the video again, and I'm just going to pause it because we want to look at a comment.
Let's have a look at this. Is it from someone we know?
No,
Or is this...
no. Where is it? The comment disappeared. The person deleted or something.
I did hear about this, but I haven't read it.
Okay, so basically what it was someone on Wobo's video made a just a general comment. Oh, I don't know what I did then.
It's all right, you're back now.
Window. Okay,
Technical issues.
so someone made a comment basically saying, wish I could find it. There it is. Bud is reading a whole ceremony at the beginning of his videos. So he starts his videos off by thanking his patrons. And some of the replies on this were, kind of mixed. At least he credits everyone involved, I guess. Poor this guy. And whoever pays him to get their name said and flash for half a second, Lamau. Nobody reads or cares about that man. I don't even know who you are, I'm viewed, but do you think that maybe some of us are doing it just because we support the guy and we understand that? And Matty, you're primarily YouTube, mate. YouTube pays pretty ordinary. It's not bad, but Wobo, even with his views, like what's he got on this video now? 45,000 views. What do some people think he's getting $1 for every view? I don't think
you don't get paid, mate, till your first 1,000 on YouTube.
Yeah, it's I think people don't realize that. I think they look at sort of Mr. Beast and think just instantly attach that to anyone with a YouTube channel, right? In reality, you're not getting paid crazy, especially if you're making short snippet videos like Wobo. His are really condensed, straight to the point. It's updating the user base with really important information, and just that, in comparison to maybe like a big story video that maybe JLK or a big story YouTuber puts out, the CPM is a lot different. So I understand, the extra support. It definitely goes a long way if they want to keep supporting this sort of analysis that Wobo keeps putting out.
And he reads it really quick. It's not like he's and I'm not saying that as like he reads it too slow. Everyone knows we do it, but we do it for the reason that the money that we get is not so I can buy a McMansion or something like that. It's so that we can do something on a bigger scale than I'm capable of financially for people out in the community. And Wobo is one who, once he started this system, we jumped on board as 87.8, and we've been the highest tier supporter of him for pretty much the entire period. And the server stuff, so what if they're paying to get a promo for their server? It's supporting Wobo. And pretty much any creator out there for this game that we all love. I don't think there's any creator who's done more for the game than Wobo. There's some who've given it more exposure, but for the science of the game, the understanding of what happens in the game, there's no one in his league.
Well, put it this way, don't forget. So there's a reason I stopped taking sponsorships and ad deals on my channel. And the reason I did was because every time I would have a meet with a potential sponsor or ad, whatever, they would then getting to the point where they're asking, they want coverage in the first 2 minutes of your video. And they want that because they're not stupid. They've done their research. These big companies make millions of pounds every year, dollars, whatever. And they know that 65% of anyone that clicks on your video is gone within the first 20, 35 seconds.
Yeah.
The rest of them is your audience or new members that, new people that have just come into the, may stay for a bit. So they know for their ads to work, they've got to be in the first 2 minutes of that video. So my last one, for instance, I won't mention a name, but my last one, good deal, good amount of money coming into the channel, but I had to sacrifice 3 lots of advertisement on the description, which made my descriptions really long. Well, I didn't really mind that. But in the first 2 minutes of any video I did, I had to give at least 30 seconds airtime. So if you're putting out an intro and you've got a logo, so everyone knows it's you that's uploaded, you're now pretty much setting your intro at 2 minutes. Most people switch off after 30 seconds. So, don't forget what I'm getting at here is Wobo is probably, I'm not saying he has, I don't know, we both spoke to him in the past, but ultimately he may well, and this is what people don't realise, he may well be under that type of contract that he's had to sign to say, okay, I'm going to get paid this amount for this amount of work, but I've got to have this done in the first.
Well, the thing is, he's not doing it with, I don't think I've ever seen him do a sponsor. It's just his patrons. And
well, even so, what's wrong with that?
I think he could possibly get, probably pretty decent sponsorship from.
Oh, without a doubt.
But for him, it'd be quite difficult. He'd have to go for something like, Surfshark or something like that, because he couldn't really be promoting another game per se. Because I've always found it weird when I'm watching a video about a game and they do a paid ad for another game, and you're like, what's going on there? But I don't get it, Matty. What's your take on it, mate?
So I've done some sponsorship deals in the past, both for like either DayZ related servers or other games. You got your typical Shadow Legends, you got all these other things, right? You got all these other mobile games, shooter games, where you got companies who want to target the same clientele, so like FPS gamers, survival game players, and obviously they try to sort of take those and bring them to this game and bring a bit of exposure. I think it's all dependent on where their individual is at financially. So I understand if you are taking this really seriously full time, like every little helps. So these sponsorship deals go a long way. Now for me, I reject like 90% of them.
Yeah.
Unless it's either one, really good financially, or two, it's just like it's with my values is like I want to promote these guys. They've got like a good server, for example, and I think they'll do really well. Then I'll accept it. But other than that, I've just got like hundreds of messages every day, like, oh, can you promote my server? Can you do this? Like, I'll pay you. It's just like it is hard because one, these servers, if I just take a step back in terms of sponsorships, servers that want promoting are servers where they haven't already built a client, like a player base, right?
That's it.
You got a server that's 0 out of 100, and as a creator, it's difficult to say yes, because what content am I going to make on that server that is going to appeal to people to want to play if there's no one else playing it, right?
But let's just listen to his intro, see how long it goes for.
Yeah, but this is quick as hell. This is like, what, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, tops? It's not even that. There you go.
12 seconds.
12 seconds. You
12
see,
seconds.
This is the thing, though, right? If look at it another way. So that's not a sponsorship deal. All
No.
he's doing
He's
is
shouting out his
highlighting.
supporters.
Exactly. And I'm not being funny. That's 12 seconds. That's it.
And
I
people
got
were
told that.
saying, I know, right? I skip it. Like, you skip ahead a few seconds.
Yeah.
Are you that ADHD that you can't handle 12 seconds of someone doing that? I actually, he's one guy I never skip through anything. I watch his videos from start to finish. I've got what is it, YouTube Premium, so I don't have to watch ads and that. But it's just like there's even someone having to go. They said they had a bad experience on one of the servers, and he's supporting them. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's shouting out someone who, yes, they're using his channel to promote their server, but it's a business arrangement. They're paying their, I think it's like $50 Australian or something like that. I can't remember what the premium tier is, and they're supporting him, helping him keep doing what no one else has. Even when he was gone for all those years, Matty, you'd remember that. No one stepped up and filled the gap, because what he does is hard work. It's not easy. It's not just turning a webcam on and, what am I going to do today? Who am I going to raid? And I'm not having to go at people who do that, but the content he does takes a special type of person, doesn't it, Matty?
Yeah, it definitely puts in. It's almost an analysis, right? A full-on analysis of the game.
Yeah. I could not handle going into the files like that, Cobra. That's just too in depth for me. I'm like, just tell me what I can shoot, and hopefully it'll kill someone.
We'll put it this way, right? If you go back to the video, I'll pick on one video that he did that we all would have seen, and that was I think it was about a year and a half ago. He released a video of the distances and the length of bullets, what they can go through, what they can't. Now, if you just look at that video, that is only about 12, 15 minutes long, whatever it is, right? It's not as simple as just getting a gun and firing it. He has edited in the shoot lines. He's edited in every angle that he's used. So he's had to take that take about 4 or 5 times. I know from experience, when I'm editing, it's taken me 6 days to a week to edit. And that's a full-on video. That is going to take a long time also to refilm, different angles as well, plus adding in the lines. That's a lot of work, mate. That's a lot of work.
And he does all the editing himself. Basically comes up with the ideas. Some people do give him ideas. Like I've given him ideas before, and tips and stuff like that. He's my go-to for if I've got something that I think should be shared with people. I'm not going to share it because I don't have the audience. I'm going to give it to someone who, if it's genuine, is going to be able to confirm what I think is happening, and get it out there to an audience that needs to know about it. Even some of the people, like the mod you're talking about, those bullet lines. He's not actually putting those in himself.
Yeah, I know. I'm on about the ones where he has moved to put them in.
Oh, okay. But yeah, he's had people reach out. Dewan, who's one of the most underrated modders in the DayZ community, created that mod pretty much primarily for Wobo, so that when he fires the bullets, it leaves those track marks so he can better understand it. Just look at the titles he's done. He does his thumbnails, and he puts out content so quickly and so in depth, and people are complaining over just a small ad read at the beginning, and then he pops it up again at the end to thank people for them choosing to financially support him. I don't get why they could be so entitled to complain about something that's so silly, Matty. Mate, is this me being old and not understanding the mindset of some people? But it just comes across as so fucking entitled.
Yeah, I think a lot of it now is everyone's so used to sort of skipping the first bit, and even if it's like someone's intro, right? You just see where people just want to get straight into it. But when people are supporting your channel from like a Patreon perspective, it just makes complete sense to give them the sort of credit that they deserve. And even if they're not supporting monetary, they're supporting you from like they're the servers that helped you sort of run the analysis on, do the testing, things like that. It made that video possible in the end. You chose to click it in the end, and then it's sort of like just that appreciation, like these guys sort of made it possible. And yeah, I don't think a lot of the times viewers realize that. And yeah, that's where I guess maybe some of that entitlement might come from. But in the end,
Like,
it's negligible, right? It's like when you look at what is it? It's one guy out of 50,000 people, maybe 100 people who agree with him. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's maybe not a huge issue that the community face. I
he's
think
actually
just in
really
general.
public. Look at how much he's getting a month from Patreon.
And it's AU dollar as well.
So that's about 500 quid. £500.
Yeah, it's not a lot, is it?
Yeah, so I don't really understand why people complain about it. It's just one of those, I guess. There's always going to be someone that has something negative to say, right? So it's just about
Oh, there always is, mate. There always is. You know it, mate. I know it. It doesn't matter what you do. The best of us, the smallest YouTubers out there, or everyone gets it, mate. So here's what it is. That one comment, there'd have been about another 1,000 good comments for that.
Yeah. It just well, I don't know. Maybe this is just me. I've got my the thing up there, Boyd's rant, and but it was frustrating to like I. Why do they like that? Because gamers and people as a whole have to bitch and cry.
Well, it's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah. B as well. People are largely borderline narcissists that can never be pleased. But yeah, if you want to go support someone, folks, if you and feel good about it, this is a guy who you really want to consider supporting. I'm going to have stern words with the guy. I didn't even realize he'd up the tier. So because that's the tier we
sold
support out
out.
there. So
There
yeah,
Good
but
lad.
no, I love the guy and love what he does. And there's no one better that you could be choosing to support if you wanted to do something good for the community. Now let's do something else good for the community, and we will switch now to
Yes.
Cobra CC Spotlight.
Okay, so this week, as you know, I love to chuck out there some of the brand new, smaller YouTubers. This week, though, we're going to the other end of the spectrum. So, Freshborns, because they've done so well, they're celebrating their 300, and I think it's 30k subs now, or a bit more than that now. They decided that September they were going to do a load of community bits and pieces, which all kicked off quite nicely. They've released a video of it was a stream, but they've released a video of building a big old town, and they managed to block off the entirety of Gorka, which is quite interesting. So they've got about 20-30 people involved. Actually, they're up to their usual little tricks every now and then, but they were building a town. So, blocking off a town. And it was quite a good, interesting, different take. A few of us have done this before. There are a couple of videos out there of big community projects where, they've gone onto servers and they've managed to do bits and pieces. This is a modded server. The challenge is this. This is the challenge, though. I've done it once, and it's hard, really hard. Try this on official servers. But anyway, mate. Anyway, I won't even get into that. That's a story for another show. That is. But anyway, it's a good video. It's a good crack, people. They have singly wall-wise blocked off Gorka, and they've got some moments in there. They have a bit of fun in there. Well worth a watch. So go and check them out again. For those that haven't, I'm sure most of you are aware of them now. Go and have a little look.
because they've exploded
Massive.
and
Massive.
very quickly because they did something novel. They didn't just I don't watch all of their content. To be honest, I don't watch a lot of their content. I don't have a lot of time to watch content these days. But the views they've gotten, and they just seem to come out of nowhere in the last few years.
2
but
years.
Yeah.
That growth has been over 2 years, mate. Now I caught up with them on a stream.
Joined 2nd of August 2020.
Yeah, but they actually broke out in the last 2 years, and I caught up with them on a stream, and we both happened to be on the same server. And at that time, this was Christmas last year, right? They were under 100k, right? They were under 100k, and they have properly exploded in the last year as well. So fair play to them. And don't forget though, there's two of them. They are quite funny. They do some crazy shit like most of us, but they're doing what they need to do for the algorithm, mate. They're posting shorts every day.
Yep.
They're putting videos twice a week. They're doing what they need to be doing, and that's how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
So fair play to them.
Our mod spotlight for the week, folks, is semi-DayZ related, but let me just bring it up. Give me one moment. I'll leave this up because I had this sent through to me as a DM. Let me change the window. Armor Reforger, folks. Big update. Did you see this one, Matty?
I have not, no.
This is pretty
good.
A
lot of new vehicles.
Yeah.
Helicopters. It's starting to look quite polished. I know with the server that we've got here in Australia, I spoke to Spud about it, and we're going to look at doing a Armor Reforger DayZ server just so we can experiment with it, because I still haven't tried it. I've seen a few people do it, and I'm interested, and as we should be, Cobra, because this is. There's going to be or there's going to be DayZ servers popping up in this, and we need to have an understanding of it. But have you had a chance to try it at all, Cobra? The DayZ mods for Armor Reforger so far?
Yeah, I've looked at a couple. So, me, DayZ is the main game for me, mate. But this is slowly getting to a point where I think, given another 6 months to a year, and if they continue the way they're going, it's going to be interesting to see, what the kind of path's going to be here. So the one thing I really don't like on here is the actual running animation. I really don't like that.
I've said that as well. It doesn't feel right to me. It just looks weird.
Yeah. So first person, you kind of get rid of that, but also the interaction with buildings and stuff. But I mean, it's early doors for this again, isn't it? So I don't know, mate. I don't think it'll ever be a DayZ, but it's interesting. It's interesting. You haven't played this, Matt, have you?
No, I haven't. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
worth
a pure DayZ, yeah.
Yeah, same here, mate. Same here. But it is worth a look though, because I think they're trying to catch the DayZ situation, mate. I think they're trying to catch up on that. It does look good graphically. It looks really good.
You just got to work out whatever's going on with it running animation, but I'm very excited because we saw the level of the graphics of I don't know whether we're having any audio issues or anything, but obviously that playing that video at the same time is there we go. It's back again. But yeah, did my audio go funky then for you too?
No.
Okay, that's another promising thing, but I'm just excited to see where they're going with it, because Armor is such a hallmark game for a lot of people. Without Armor, there wouldn't have been a DayZ. So to see some decent progress, regardless of how Reforger was released as a paid experience and all the rest of it. Forget all that sort of stuff. That's a separate topic. But I'm just excited to see some good progress being made with the Reforger engine. So I want to learn more about it because I've only heard little whispers here and there, and user actions can now loop while the player is So I don't really like the HUD either. The interface, it just feels a bit gamey to me as well, Cobra. But I want to actually get in there and try it out and see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not DayZ. It's not a DayZ experience, especially. I mean, you're looking at Skybox for DayZ. Just all the time they're updating bits like that. DayZ's still number one, mate, without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Oh, so speaking of DayZ, how good in experimental is the creak sounds?
Oh yeah, there's some interesting stuff.
I didn't even know about that, and I got near a creek, Matty, and I was like, "What's that noise?" And I was like, "That's water. The creek's bubbling." And I don't know, but I know we're going a bit off the mod spotlight here, but it just, I'm so glad they did that because it just feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they're taking a lot of inspiration, aren't they, with the most recent audio changes? Like you got the sort of item dropping on the floor noises. You got the creak noises now. Different sort of sound for your the infamous one when you're thirsty.
Yeah.
the lip smacking.
Oh.
Yeah, it's awful. But
Yeah.
definitely they're moving in a direction now, right, where there's a lot more sound design and in-depth sound design going into the game than there once was.
And it's surprising it's taken so long because it's not something I'd ever really thought about until I heard it and was like, this makes such a difference. Just imagine being sitting there by a creek with a little fire going, maybe fishing and the water bubbling. And again, this is me with my cock and ball torture immersion, but my immersion. But to me, that was just such a nice thing to find in the game.
There's a lot, though. There's a lot of the new sounds, mate, everywhere in that game right now. And there's some really cool stuff going on.
The Skybox is just, I'm still in love with that. Matty, have you tried 1.23 experimental?
I haven't looked into it yet, no.
Oh, you're going to love that, mate.
You need to get on there and just, you don't need to, but if you are interested, it might be an interesting video for you to do. Your thoughts on 1.23 experimental so far. It's the DMR. I've had a lot of luck finding them at chopper crashes. Obviously, they're turned up at the moment because they want people to be playing with them. The Northwest Airfield is just some issues with loot spawning in weird places. I don't know whether that's been updated. I had someone come back to me and say they were finding loot floating everywhere. So our server's just been set up as pure vanilla. I'll quickly address it as well. Broken Fret, I'm keeping that server going as long as we can afford to. It's just been nice to have it, the 1.23 experimental, and we'll keep it up. And then as 1.24, do that. And because it's a whole deady, yeah. What do you think of the concept so far? What concept B? But it's I 1.23 experimental, Matty. It's looking like a one of the best DayZ patches in a long, long time.
Yeah, the NWAF change is a big one for me. I think moving forward to be super interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, I think the only problem is still the same, and that is trying to get on the bloody experimental servers with any kind of stability.
I think they fixed that now.
Right, I'll have to
post about that.
I might chat on. I might jump on tomorrow and check it again. Then it was a bloody nightmare when on the first night. Bloody
bit of an own goal to release it like that, and just frustrating people. And some people just couldn't get on. Others were.
Mate, it took me
ages. A few people said they had no issues. I thought I was having no issues, and then I started having issues. And sometimes you could just sit there and just click the play button. And third time usually was a charm, and you get in. Other times, no, access denied, and it was just okay. This is frustrating, but yeah. Either way, I'm really looking forward to experimental going stable. When
it's gonna be
when
probably
it's
the
ready.
best update. Well, probably the
Yeah.
best update for a long time. I think that's going to be
A hyped gun, some pretty significant changes to things like the skybox audio and so on, and the Northwest Airfield rework. Mwah. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. DOJ should be very proud of his first major change, excluding Nizhnoy and moving a desk in the hospital and spinning a few trees somewhere else. Love you, DOJ. You know I'm just talking shit. It's a bit of a joke we have with him, but yeah.
In case you didn't know, Matty, DOJ is a dev on there.
He's the I think his correct title is environment designer, but we were just calling him tree spinner.
Boyd, his new fame title.
Okay, so the next topic, we're getting close to wrapping it up now. Just a quick shout out again, once again, to our other sponsor, Lid Hosting. I'll post their details now in chat, but go check them out, folks. They're running a pretty damn good service there for servers in the EU region. So if you're looking for a DayZ server that is run by someone who actually understands the game, look no further than Lid Hosting, folks. He does mods and does servers, and he understands what the needs are for a actual server to be able to run this game effectively, which a lot of other providers, some that we won't mention because people affiliated with the show are affiliated with them, but don't fully understand just how demanding a DayZ server can be. Matty, you've run servers, Cobra was saying?
I've not run it, but I've been part of like the whole process of sort of getting one off the ground.
Yeah,
like part of the teams, and
it's hard, especially once you start stacking those mods in. Yeah, and when you start stacking those mods up, the pressure it can put a server on if it gets high pop as well. Oof.
Yeah, it's dangerous as well when you're relying on a third party mod. One change on that mod can sort of shut down your whole server for a certain amount of time. So
yeah,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Awesome. Okay. Let me just quickly jump back to the agenda. Let us know in the comments down below, folks, what you think of this new method of doing the show. I'm actually pretty impressed with it so far. It looks like it's done a pretty decent job. A lot simpler and easy to use. So yeah. We don't have a quiz question this week, unfortunately, folks. Lazian and the team didn't get one through to me. So we'll chase them up. It's probably my fault for not chasing them up. But yeah. And yeah, I agree, Cobra. Keep doing what you're doing, mate. With the I'll be honest, I haven't checked out a lot of it. But it's ideas like that, mate, that games like DayZ and that appear from. So keep going with it. Individual spotlights. We do a segment, Matty, you're probably familiar with it, where we ask our guests, and myself and Cobra will also do one as well. But just anything that you would like to shout out, whether it's DayZ related or not, it's up to you, to just bring some attention to something that you feel warrants it.
Yeah, I guess just in terms of like the amount of grind that some of the creators are putting in. I know, I think there's a couple big ones that I know have been putting a lot of effort into their videos recently. They deserve a shout out. You got the likes of Zodek, Chopper, but they're all going pretty well. And I think it'd be good to just reach out to more of the smaller guys out there as well in terms of their kicking off their channel. And happy to speak with any of those guys on that front as well. And I'm not too close to the sort of streaming community on DayZ. I know it's split up a little bit in terms of content career wise. You got a lot of streamers, you got a lot of the sort of story and video makers, and it'd be super cool. Just reach out to me in terms of that, and happy to sort of support you guys on that front as well.
Yep.
Happy days, mate. Happy days.
What about you, Cobra?
Okay, so last week we touched on a bit of a serious one regarding PTSD. this week, I think you've probably all heard about this, but I'm going to bring this up because there's a story behind. I'm not going to get too much into the story, but I'm wondering if a lot of you heard of the Call of Duty streamer Inquisitor, who apparently took his life on stream a
No.
little while ago.
Oh.
So I won't go into the ins and outs. I don't actually know the Inquisitor, but there's a big old story behind this. Well-known Call of Duty streamer, TikToker, had over 200,000 on TikTok alone. I need to be careful what I say here, but basically, my spotlight of the week is once again to highlight something that is prevalent around the whole world these days, and a growing understanding of why men commit suicide. And look, it affects male and female, but my spotlight tonight is going to be focused on the male suicide situation. And this guy, the Inquisitor, was live on air, and by all accounts, it appears that he did pass away. I can't go into what actually happened on the stream. I can tell you that the stream's now been taken down, and some of this did come from, or so the story is, of online crap being spread about the guy that was clearly untrue. So I won't say any more than that, but it just goes to show you that we need to be careful, people. We need to be careful. We've discussed it a little bit on the show tonight, and we do discuss this every now and then around people's nasty comments online. This is real people we're talking about here, and people, they're not always as happy in their lives as they may appear on stream. And this is a sad, sad incident if it's true, and by all the media accounts, it appears to be. So just be careful. Be nice to each other, man. Just be careful about what we say to people, especially online. Don't go thinking just because you can hide behind a screen and be anonymous that it's okay for you to talk shit and make up stuff that is just completely not true because someone else is doing well. We need to be telling that on its head, people. We need to be supporting each other. We need to be pushing other people's content out. I mean, me and Matty have had a little chat about this a little while ago, I think, Matty, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago, we had a chat about this, about helping each other out. And, not me and you, but I mean, generally the population, we should all be helping each other out. And if you do get salty and pissed off because someone's doing better than you are, don't resort to shit like that, spreading stuff that is completely untrue, because it does have consequences. And on this occasion, it appears to have a serious consequence. So for me, highlight on suicide awareness.
Definitely. I just
Good show.
looked it up. If you want to find out more, folks, you can type the name in. There's a few articles talking about it. It happened on October 9th or something. That's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. And they accused him of something pretty egregious as well, with no evidence that can be confirmed by any of the media that I've seen. Just quickly looking at it,
It's untrue completely from everything I've read at.
Yeah,
So
and it's a pretty bad thing to accuse a guy of. So most of you will be able to work out what that's referring to, and yeah, wow, I got goosebumps right now. Wow.
it's sad to hear
Yeah.
that no matter who it was, yes, I didn't know him at all, never even heard of him before I read about this, but a fellow streamer felt that bad. He had nowhere to go. Well, he felt he had nowhere to go, and he did it live. That's sad.
Went out with yeah. Wow. Okay, my spotlight is also a bit of a heavy one, folks. I added something to my personal Twitter account. You see a lot of people, they'll have a flag of who they're supporting or something along those lines. And I made a post about, it's obviously, we all have our biases and our preferences on the way things are in the world and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, I think nearly all of us can agree that there's way too much fucking war and shit going on in this world at the moment. And there's a lot of reasons why that could be happening. For those of us who are old enough to remember when the Cold War ended and the Berlin Wall went down, and there was a lot of hope and that the world was turning around, and pretty much none of that's actually come to fruition. And if anything, we're becoming more divided. And that was basically what my post was about. I've now got the peace dove in my Twitter bio or in my name on Twitter. And it might be a bit of an ironic one because I'm a former soldier and I've had some pretty hot takes in the past, but I'm just getting sick of seeing it. And there's a lot of people out there who've got ulterior motives, folks, that you need to be aware of. So my advice to everyone is, you still got to be able to talk about things and call out the bad stuff, like what happened this week with the attacks in Israel, which was absolutely horrifying to see. But what's also horrifying to see is some of these houses and buildings and structures in the Gaza Strip being just destroyed, and knowing that there's probably innocent people in there, regardless of their ethnicity, their religion, or whatever. They're innocent people, and call out people who are going too far with. You've got to be able to talk about stuff seriously, don't you, Cobra? But
absolutely,
you've got to temper it with. There's a lot of people who are calling out these sorts of things, but they're doing it from the safety of a cafe in inner cities and all the rest of it. And question everything and be very careful what you're sharing. I've seen some terrible misinformation, disinformation being shared by, and I've been guilty of some of this in the past myself. You get caught up in the emotion of it, but take a step back and try to think reasonably, because the sad part is here, a lot of innocent civilians and people who, even soldiers don't deserve to die. Remember what most militaries call their military is a defense force. And they're being used in ways that not a lot of them would be. There's a lot of you were talking about with the terrible stuff with mental health and that again, Cobra. And I just watched a video by a guy called Upper Echelon, and he was talking about a psyops chick that the American military is using to make the military seem really cool and all the rest of it. And she's really big on Instagram or TikTok or something, and does these quirky little videos about how cool it is in the military. And it's there's scary times we're living in, folks. Scary times. So just be careful before you get caught up in the speech that just seems more aimed at trying to get us to be divided than it does to get us to come together as one. I don't believe that will ever be possible. We're all way too different in a lot of cultural and religious and so on beliefs, but we can exist peacefully or coexist. And it's just getting a bit crazy out there, isn't it, right now, Matty?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I think you sort of said it rightly there in terms of a lot of these opinions are coming from an area where people are safe, like a cafe, like you said, or somewhere in the Western world. And you never know really where a situation like this could just fall onto you as well. So it's definitely something to be careful, because when the sort of like the war or the conflicts at your front doorstep, those emotions are going to be completely different. Your views are going to be completely different, aren't they?
And I'm not judging any of the people who are on the the coalface and their passion that comes from being in those situations, whether it be people in Ukraine or in Russia, or people in Palestine, Gaza Strip and Israel, because when it's on your doorstep, when you're seeing this stuff, for those who haven't been to an active service region, it's terrible. The stuff you see, isn't it, Cobra? And
absolutely, mate.
I did it from the safety of having a big ass gun and a bunch of other guys who had my back. I couldn't imagine being an innocent civilian stuck in one of those zones. So, getting back onto the point of it, folks, just be careful in what you get caught up in. There's a lot of people, and there's a profiteering side to all of this. There's a lot of content creators and talking heads on both sides. This is not just like a Ben Shapiro or a sort of thing. But there are a lot of people, even on the left, who are loving the division right now, and they're fueling it because it keeps them in their jobs. It keeps the money coming in. They're selling their shirts and their merch and their all the rest of it. And they don't care about the consequences it has on everyone else. The rest of us who are, regardless of what some people think about me, I'm not a right-wing person. I'm kind of middle of the road. I've got some views that are left-wing. I've got some views that are right-wing. But I'm just an average person. So try to avoid getting caught up in that division, folks. I know that's, we're a DayZ podcast. We're talking about gaming, but this is what's happening out there in the real world, and we can't ignore it. And, try to focus on the common ground that we have. We all have way more in common than we have that divides us.
Yeah, absolutely on that, mate.
110%. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. I forgot to do my next week's guest graphic, but give me 1 second. Next week, we have coming on the show, Steve Salkatesh. The guy from DayZ Expansion. So I'm looking forward to that one. He's a regular recurring guest, but I'm going to go back. I've completely forgotten. Had a bit of a crazy week this week. Personal note, my car's finally going to be getting repaired. My four-wheel drive that broke down a while back. Finally been able to save up enough money to the turbo went on at Cobra. I don't know how mechanically minded you are, but it was a diesel Navara, and it's got some sort of fancy turbo thing in it, and it's thousands of dollars. Probably about £3,000. I think it's going to cost to get it repaired.
That's a bit naughty,
good call there. Broken Fret, Beyond Blue, Lifeline. There's a lot of services out there, and also there's us in here. Send us a message. I'll never. If someone says they just want to chat, I'll never say no. My missus tells me sometimes I'm a bit too, but that's just the way I am. I'll send a message to someone out of the blue. If you see someone acted a bit strange on social media, send them a message. Say, hey, bro, how you doing? You never know. You might stop with someone from, maybe pressing that F11 key, folks, or by reaching out and letting them know that someone does care. Some people do it for attention. Some people, mate, what's wrong with giving them that bit of attention? Does it hurt anyone? No. Better to do something nice than, not do something and feel bad for not having done something. But got a bit sidetracked there. I just saw the comment from Palmer, Beyond Blue, for anyone that needs to talk. But looking forward to next week's show with Steve Salkatesh. He's a modding guru, so he'll definitely be able to help us with some of the stuff that is way beyond our pay grade, Cobra.
Absolutely, mate. Don't know anything about modding, mate.
Matty, thank you so much, mate. Continue smashing it. It's great seeing there's just so many new names appearing everywhere, Matty.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Welcome, mate.
It's our pleasure, mate. It's our pleasure. We do this show to help, just talk about DayZ and get the news out there on what's going on in this beloved games ecosystem. And again, please leave your comments down below, folks, on the new format, the new show, a bit more simplistic. But so far, I've been pretty happy with it. We were actually streaming on 4 platforms, Cobra. I don't know whether you realised. We were streaming on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and also Twitter. We were streaming from the DayZ Podcast account because it's great to get people coming over to YouTube, but if we're getting this out there to more people, that's the end goal. Once again, thank you all of our supporters. Thank you, Humble Bundle. Links in the bio. Thank you, Lid Hosting. Links in the bio as well. And we will see you all next week, same time, same channels, for episode 170 of the DayZ Podcast with Steve Salkatesh. All the best, everyone. Thank you once again, Matty.
Thanks, guys. See you in a bit. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, no worries. Take care. Take care, guys. Have fun.